1/4 inch, right?
Yeah, you get the mic on the other end. It will fit.
Can you test it? Will you be able to see if it's getting sound?
Yep.
I don't know if it's gonna work.
It's gonna make it.
That's the other problem.
Aloha, everybody! How's everybody feeling? Oh, good. That's a good thing. We're in a very sacred place with some extraordinary people today. I think we should all sing YeeeHoooo. Mai ka ike mai luna mai. Mai ka ike mai luna mai o nā mea huna no yo o nā mele e ho mai e ho mai e ho mai ka ike mai luna mai o nā mea huna no yo o nā mele e ho mai e ho mai e ho Mahalo kia kua for bringing us together at this incredible time. Of course, any and every time is an auspicious time, but it's awfully wonderful to celebrate that fact together. Welcome to Wahine Fest 2017. Oh, I need my cheat sheet. Now I can look official and kick my shoes off. Okay, here's what's going on. For the first little while of this festival, we're going to have some speakers. I'm going to tell you first what is Wahine Fest and what is the role of the arts in revolution. And all of the other amazing people that are going to be coming up here after I give a very short talk are going to be speaking about other things, but they're all interrelated in terms of sovereignty, in terms of kapu aloha, in terms of banding our forces together for a more pono way of being together on this planet. And so I should start by telling you what this is about. Wahine Fest started in 2006 on Kauai, and that was the first annual. I missed a couple because I got pregnant and then but basically this is the 8th annual over this past decade of in all of the places I've lived at whatever time that might be. And the intention was to honor the feminine principle in all of us and in, obviously, the land, Mother Earth. And being that we really instinctively understand, you know, we don't ever hear Father Earth. We hear Father Sky, but we never hear Father Earth. The Earth is obviously associated with the feminine principle of birthing, of sustaining life, of creating life, and the whole cycle of life. So I wanted to create a festival that would really be clear about this and really get get together and acknowledge that fact that we are all made of the same beauty, of the same life force, and that we could, at least we could maintain the peace and maintain the peace within ourselves and share that with each other and reflect each other's peace back to them and have a really fucking good time. And so I've been having a really good time. I can only speak for myself with all of life's ups and downs. And yes, I'm exhausted throwing these festivals on. Thank you everyone for every bit of help to make these things happen, these happenings, because they really do accentuate the simple beauty of being alive and the simple gratitude that is inherent in being alive. And in that gratitude, there's nothing to get, there's nothing to do, there's only to share this aloha. So in 2006, I started the first Wahine Fest, and everybody was like, oh, that's a chick thing, and oh, I'm not going. Am I invited if I'm a man? Or, oh God, what a bunch of gay people getting together? What the hell is this? Nobody got it. I had to start talking about it in different ways, you know, and even though the first one I booked John Cruise, and I had all kinds of men on the bill, but nobody was really getting it. And it had a really amazing beginning. What happened was, if any of you know the story about the 2006 dam break on Kauai, it rained 40 days and 40 nights. And Pfluger, I don't want to go into the details, but through mismanagement, and I stress the word management, not that I'm a sexist, I'm just stressing that when mismanagement is when men are not listening to women, and or when the women are not listening to to the feminine principle. What is pono? We all have the feminine in ourselves. So when we're not aligned with that, then terrible things happen, like the dam break of 2006, where two of my dear friends were swept away in the mud that night. And it was the weekend of their wedding, and she was 8 months pregnant. And so I had to cancel the Wahine Fest, the first one. And I threw instead a memorial, of course. And so all of those performers, almost all of them, attended the beautiful memorial for all of the many people who passed away in that dam break. I wanted to tell you that because, bump up to my greatest area of giving my time, which is Mauna Kea. What's happening on Mauna Kea to me is a great metaphor for what humanity needs to address very quickly in order to not participate in global suicide. And why I'm so aligned with that movement and the Kapu Aloha movement is because it's our kuleana to obviously protect the water and to protect the sources of our sustenance and ourselves. It's we've come very far, as you know, humanity has stretched pretty far out, and we're like, whoa, we got to come back now, because otherwise we're going to fly off, the planet. We have to reconnect with each other, and so that's why these festivals have been going on. And Aloha Aina is being stressed here for a lot of reasons. The first Wahine Fest my vision was for it to go on in Taos, on Turtle Island, in Ireland, in India, and in Hawaii. So it would be like a compass. We would all become a compass in our own selves, and then align with around the planet to have these beautiful celebrations taking place. I would like to ask my lovely assistant if you could go over there to that blue tent and grab a woman by the name of Chandel, because she's going to be speaking next, if you wouldn't mind. So, of course, I never had the budget to pull that off. Not yet. Oh, can you take that off then? Thanks. Where is the sound man? I would love to know that. I don't think that, yeah, that would be good. Thank you. I need all the assistance I can get. So, bump up, many years. And here we are, booked at Uncle Robert's for Wahine Fest 2017. And it didn't happen there, and that's a long story too. These Wahine Fests are very interesting. Who comes, how they happen, where they happen. And so I just want us to take one moment of silence and put yourself really firmly on the ground. This is a very amazing place. We're very blessed to be here. I feel very fortunate to have proximity to this lake. It's a portal. It's a pico. We're going to have a couple of people talk later about the legends of this incredible place, the importance of this place. But I'm just going to take just literally 10 seconds to just clear yourself out and listen to this Aina and be here now. Are you ready? That means putting your damn phone down, darling. Hey, yes, I'm talking to you over there. You're so engrossed in your phone, you can't even hear me talking, can you? Nope, she can't. Can somebody tap on her shoulder and say, it's time to pay attention, just for a second? So I'm asking everyone who is here to be here now and to be quiet just for a moment and really feel this place and listen to the wind and hear what we're going to hear. Okay, just very briefly. 1, 2, 3. Mahalo. The other day I went to the East Gate with my dear sister Dia, and I had a profound experience between the two rocks, the gates, which was an amazing realization. We all know who we are, but the drama of forgetting is so fun. And even with all the suffering, and we just love it. We go for it. And we'll even purposefully do it. It isn't sometimes just a matter of forgetting, oops. But we actually purposefully forget who we are. And that is who everyone is, which is made of love. There isn't any one of us, no matter who you are, who isn't made of love, which is why I'm so aligned with the Kapu Aloha movement. And I do see it as the medicine of our times. And that's coming from a place of many, many journeys to India, where I prayed, many prayers were ended with, let me see thee, Ma, let me serve thee. Eo. And it's the irony of having to surrender to be sovereign is very interesting. And the mantra Om Namah Shivaya came to me very clearly in that east gate, which is just, we're in perfect alignment here between pretty much Mauna Kea and East Gate. So we're in the middle place where we can meet and enjoy each other. I can't thank you enough for coming. So Chandel is going to come up here if she gets her ass in gear. Oh, that's why. Okay. Well, let's see. Who else can we say? Kalama's not here. Nobody's here. Lalani Teal is 2 hours late. She's with Liko Martin. They unfortunately didn't. Some of their luggage didn't arrive, so they had to stay in Kona and wait for the next plane. They got it, but they're going to be very late. It's just fascinating how all of these things get topsy-turvied, and so we just stay centered in the midst of all conditions if we want to have more fun. The other speakers, I want to just also say Ke Aloha Pishoda, who is one of my great heroes, and I could speak a lot about her character and the work she's been doing, so I want to just acknowledge her. She's not able to come because of a federal scenario that she's involved with. A lot of the Kia'i, a lot of the protectors around the world are being targeted and messed with, and we all have to really stay strong for those people, because the sacrifice that people make is pretty extraordinary. We have one amazing Kia'i in the house. Lani Sinkin, thank you for all of your work. And a lot of the people that are over there, I met actually at the TMT contested case hearings, which for me was a metaphor of the global situation that we're in, and the process that is designed to interfere with protecting the Aina and the water. So this is a time when we just can celebrate ourselves in everything that we're doing as we are, who we are. So nobody knows where Chandel is, huh? Oh, you did. So, but okay. And so I also wanted to talk about, crisis really brings, any kind of crisis brings our attention to the need for what is Pono. So it's a good thing. It's like a kind of like a heart attack, to let you know, oh yeah, you need to be aware more. You need to pay attention. This life is fleeting, and yeah, let's have some more fun. let's have some more love. Let's have some more good food, and while we're here, because we're not gonna be here very long. So that's another reason I love this festival, to just celebrate that, just being alive, just celebrate that. And we're all artists. So with all the crisis that we have in the world, it's the perfect opportunity to make art and to coalesce our experience in some way, in some form. So ritual and all the spiritual traditions of all the worlds, there are all these forms. The same, the languages are very different, but it's the same formless aloha that is behind all these different and changing forms. So it'd be great if we could all just stop bickering about the different forms and pretend like we're all kind of from a different planet. Oh, I could read you a poem while we wait. Speaking of which, I wrote this last night, so I'm going to have a hell of a time reading it, I can tell. All revolutions are about love. Love of country, love of land, love of family, love of clean water, love of clean air and soil, love of the things that give us life, love of the things that sustain life, love of the source of life, love. If we pretended for a moment that we were all from a different planet, and we all had different ideas about that source of life, would we want to waste time arguing about whose idea is right? Whose idea is the only idea that fits into this vast universe? Or could we expand? To be alive is a revolution. The planet revolves around the sun, the moon around the planet. And each of our birthdays are but one moment in this endless revolution. Like one heartbeat of many. Like an excellent song at a festival. Like a life well lived in all of eternity. This particular revolution we are in is also, of course, a revolution about love, since all revolutions are about love. The revolutions that are not about love are not actually revolutions. They are interruptions of love. As love expresses itself in every changing form, love cannot be claimed, owned, patented, stolen, diverted, or prostituted. There is no dam, no matter how strong, that can hold a river for that long. Nature is patient, but never ever ceases to be nature. And nature is referred to as Mother Nature for a reason. Like an infant being born into another realm altogether, we are all waking up to the revolution. And all revolutions are about love. So I really think that it's time we celebrate more often in our own lives and together, and see the conflicts that we are dealing with as blessings instead of curses, and work to find that place, like between the two gates at Eastgate, or right now where we are between Eastgate and Mauna Awakea, to stay present in the middle of this fucking chaos that is going to be chaos because that's its nature. So we can actually be okay with that. That's the intention of Wahine Fest. And so while I'm waiting for the next person to take the mic, I'll tell you about what's going on over here. I have started something called Aloha Aina Ohana organization. Oh, mahalo. Oh, mahalo kia kua. Mahalo. What you see back here is the beginnings of a collective guild, the Aloha Aina Ohana Artisans Guild. I'm making this shit up. So I'm the first artist of of this guild. I welcome all people who are artisans, especially if their art is obviously pono in every possible way. I have Jessa Lay, my sister, my Mauna sister, who is also selling Mauna wear and several other things over there. So please check that out. And spread the word about this guild, because I want to have an art festival. And yes, there will be music, but I want to really stress what we put before our eyes. You know, so I hope you like the stage. These are signs that have been, you know, that I've been doing and stuff. And the intention is to honor this life principle that the Wahine Fest is all about. So spread the word to artists that want to maybe participate in the guild for a festival that I want to throw in a couple of months. Thank you for also trying to purchase something over there so that I can afford to do things like this. and throw this next festival, the Guild Festival. And all the photographs are taken on this island. These are just Big Island shots that I've taken over the past 3 years of being here. And what do I have to go get Chandel myself? Hi, hey sister, what you doing over there? You know, because I'm running out of. I'm feeling like I'm hogging the stage. Chandel. Hey, Earl, brother. Hey, the gang is coming all together. Okay, so I'll make up a song. Let's just do it. What else do I need to say? Oh, I also want to make a special mention about Kia'i Mauna, the dear friend from Kauai. She was also booked and is not able to make it. She's doing some very important work on Kauai, which is amazing. And then, there's Kalama! YeeeHoooo! Baby, I think you're gonna be next, since Chandel, no one can find her. I have such treats for you guys, oh my god. So, I forgot what I was saying, but I wanted to talk about Kia'i Mauna doing songs of sovereignty on Kauai. We get sometimes so obsessed about our issues on this island, we forget about the water issues on Maui and on Kauai. And particularly on Kauai right now, it's amazing. So try to tap in, get some information about the water issues on all the islands, because they're all equally important. And I also wanted to say that Kuching yesterday just told me something that I was really struck by regarding Ke Aloha Pashota, which I wish she were here. I really want to send her our good wishes in all of the works that she's so involved with. He said, quote unquote, "I trust her with my life." So I think that's a very amazing thing, if you know Kuching, for him to say that about Ke Aloha Pashota. So I wanted to share that also. She's a bomb. Yeah, all the women who are going to be speaking are the bomb. This next woman is just mind-blowing. And of course, I don't have her bio right here because I'm so unorganized. But I can say a couple of things. If she's ready, I would love to introduce her. Nope, nobody. It's you and me, honey. She was just recently in Standing Rock. She, if anybody saw the little film that I made about a couple of the people participating in Wahine Fest 2017, you would have heard her incredible bio. What she's done is just totally inspiring, and I'm going to let her tell you about what she's been doing recently here and at Standing Rock. She's going to be talking about racism in an era of climate change crisis. So some of the things that I just spoke about, she's on it. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Aloha Aina.
Aloha Aina. Yes. Aloha Aina. Iau kalamoka aina ni heu paliku o nā ko'ola o ka papa moku o hina. My name is Kalama. I come from the island of Oahu. My kupuna are from the island of Moku o YeeeHoooo. And we moved to Ka'a'awa, which is on the northeast side of Oahu. Yee! Very honored to be here. Thank you so much to everybody. Moku o Kiawe. It's always a pleasure to be here. And I haven't actually ever been to Green Lake before. I really want to check it out. I heard it's beautiful up here. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's been a great honor to be a participant in this great movement of our peoples. Standing Rock was one wonderful example of how we can unite as first peoples of the land together with each other, as well as with our allies. And I want to talk about racism in an era of climate change crisis. And this is something that has become as throughout time has gone by, it has always been something that the first peoples have struggled for, have fought for, have defended with the blood, sweat, tears, and life of their land. But recently, the urgency has become more frightening. We've always known that if you do not malama the aina, you do not take care of the ground, the earth, the mother that nurtures you, upon which you stand, that you are facing dire consequences, a great risk when you do not honor the land that you walk upon. But Western scientists are finally coming around to understand that, and they are revealing information that is becoming more and more frightening. Leading climate change crisis experts are saying within the next 5 years, we are looking at catastrophic climate change results. And because of that, we've always said, plan for the next 7 generations. This is what the first people of the land always talk about, plan for the next 7 generations. But what we're talking about is devastating ecological devastation occurring within not our children's lifetimes, not our grandchildren's lifetime. We're talking about devastation occurring within our lifetime. The buck has been passed through the generations, and we have been crying out with ever increasing voices that we must stand now, or we will not have an earth on which to stand. And we're talking about Hawaii. When we're talking about not having an earth on which to stand, we're talking about many of our islands slowly going underneath the ocean. And not so slowly anymore. The science looks at exponential rises in temperature as well as rises in water levels. In my own home, in my Aina, we are supposed to be several feet, maybe about 4 or 5 feet above the water level. But we've been planting for a while now because we're looking at sustainability, about really walking the talk, living the life. But what I'm seeing is now 2 of my the more delicate trees. We have a star fruit or 5-finger fruit, and then also a butter avocado that we've planted on the land. That for absolutely no reason, I have very fertile land, for no reason, dying. They're dying in the earth, and that is unheard of in my area. What we have in my area that I'm at, up above, right Mauka to that, you have these this whole livestock, this area that has all these pigs, sheep, llamas, all different kinds of diversified animal livestock. And every time the rain come from the mountain to the Makai, it rains every morning at night. You see the Noilani, the mist coming down as Papa Hanamoku and Wakea make love to each other in this eternal dance of recreation and intimacy and beauty and embrace. And when the rains come down from Mocha, they wash all of this fertile, verdant soil and resource onto my Aina. And the plants always flourish. And they grow, and they produce abundance of fruit. 2 of my trees are dying now. All the leaves have fallen. The stark whiteness of the branches reach up to the heavens, and you can see that they, for no reason, are dying. And so I look to our cousins in Kiribati, and I look at where they are, and they talk about the great hungry tides that are devouring the atolls of their nation. And you see that the trees, the very trees that they are nurtured by, the coconut trees, you can see They grow on the ocean. They grow on the beaches. Their roots are being eaten up by the salt, and as their roots die, the trees, the giants fall from the heavens, and then they crash onto the ground, and they no longer nurture the people that once climbed up the trees, ate of their fruit, and drank of their waters. We're not talking about climate change crisis happening 7 generations from now. We're talking about this generation right now, here. So the question is, what are we going to do about this? And when we talk about racism, I put it in the context of what is racism? Racism is when one society's values and beliefs are imposed in a systemic, oppressive way, bowing down and crushing another beneath its feet. We're not just talking about KKK. We're not just talking about Jim Crow. We're talking about when another culture smashes down upon another. And this is important. They have, Noam Chomsky himself pointed out that the indigenous peoples are in the forefront of every ecological struggle on the face of the planet. And why is that? Is it because we're the only ones who care? Is it because we're the only ones with spirituality? Is it because we are the only ones who believe in a future for our children? And the answer is aole. That is not what's happening. What is happening is structures and systems of forcible removal, extraction, and destruction and capitalism based on profit are fundamentally incompatible with systems of sustainability. And the First Nations of the world are the norm. We are the source of systems of sustainability, in which when you pollute the land in which you stand, when you cannot eat the food that you plant, when you cannot drink the waters that flow through your land and your Aina, it's all connected. It's not separate. Wahine women issues are different from what upholds the man. You do not separate the issues of the environment from structures of power and exploitation. You do not separate issues of oppression, colonization, occupation. Those are not separate issues, and for that reason, because they are fundamentally incompatible with systems of sustainability, they have no choice but to conflict and collide. And whenever we collide, the people who love the land, the people who love the earth, the people who stand on what is pono, what is righteous, what is true, they will inevitably come to these decisions. Do you fight for your land, or do you allow it to be destroyed? Do you have the choice? Do you give up your land or be incarcerated? Do you let them pollute the water, or do you become incarcerated? Do you fight for your land and the health and the well-being of everyone from Mauka to Makai, or do you become a criminal within this system of extraction, exploitation, and destruction? And the answer is that everyone throughout the planet right now needs to stand up wherever you're at, in every point, to understand that there are solutions moving forward, and they're not individual solutions. They're not about just taking on the KKK and the Jim Crow and taking on an environmental struggle and hugging a tree. It's about every place, everywhere you're at. You need to fundamentally support these systems of sustainability in which science, healing, art, spirituality, life, food, and land are married in a manifold way. You can't separate these things. You cannot have an a la carte, piecemeal appropriation of one song, one dance, one struggle. You can't have these isolated struggles anymore, because there is a world right now that we are all need to fundamentally come together and unite to support and defend, or there will be no future for any of us. Eo Malama Aina, support the First Nations wherever you are at. Support the struggles, and for our people, our Kanaka Maoli, our first peoples of this Aina, support us in our struggle to reassert our systems, to make them more applicable to everyone, to every person here. Because it's not just learning a song, it's not just fighting for one piece of land, and it's not just about planting kalo, it's about creating a world and a system that is intertwined. You can't just have one without the other. And we, as the first peoples, we need to challenge ourselves. We need to step up and seize our own culture. We need to reinvigorate our own sciences. We need to take the forefront and take that stance and move forward and actually implement them. And I will say to all of my allies here and my allies throughout the world, allies, wherever you're at, we aloha you, but the sacred, understanding what the sacred means. Not everyone in our own genealogy and mo'okuauhau is invested with the right to hold the sacred. We popo that. We understand. It is not only a privilege, but it is also a burden. That is the definition of kuleana. And many of us may study it. We may struggle for it. We may fight for it for decades and years and generations. And we might hold the sacred like this. But to hold it for the lahuyan, for the people, that takes generations and decades of time. And so often people will say, why are you discriminating against po'ehaole? Why are you saying that that white people cannot rise up? And they can. And they have, and we've seen incredible people, but we're talking, when you talk about systems of sustainability, a culture of oppression, oppressing another, we're talking about challenging each and every one of us in different ways. And we talk to our allies, support these systems of sustainability. And when we say that you cannot be the Cherokee princess and you cannot be the ali'i nui up on the hill when you fight for 6 months on the front lines, and all of a sudden we say, hey, are you paying attention to the first people of the land, or are you trying to dominate their narrative and take over their story? Coming from a very good place. A lot of people come from a very good place. I say, remember, what does it mean in our culture to hold the sacred and hold it in your hands? This is a gift that is given to you from the people. And if you're arguing with the Kanaka Maoli and the first people of this land and saying that they are not the ones who are holding it, I challenge you to question yourself. Are you challenging these systems of oppression, or are you replicating them in different ways? Because we ourselves, us as Kanaka Maoli, we also have to find ourselves worthy of holding the sacred, because not all of us do. And I'm not saying that I am. What I say is I am struggling within myself to find myself worthy to hold what is sacred, to be accountable and worthy of holding this kuleana myself. And the same standards that I hold for me and my people, I will hold for you as well. And you may call it reverse racism, you may call it discrimination, but what it is understanding what holding the sacred is and how heavy that is. What a deep burden that is. What the kuleana that has in order to speak for the land and to stand on the aina that you are now expected to defend. So when we say protect the sacred, when we say speak from your na'au, hold on to your mo'okuauhau, and stand forward and move forward together as one, we are calling for everyone to understand what the sacred is. Yo. Aloha Aina, much love to everybody. I see we have a couple of other speakers as well. And really mahalo very much, Millicent. Is there anything else that you wanted me to, do you want to talk about, me to talk a little bit about what happened at Standing Rock and where we're, okay. So reason why I wanted to ground us and root us in what's happening here in Hawaii is sometimes we go abroad and we forget. It's easy for us to support folks from far away, and we forget to take it back, okay? So the whole reason why many of us went to Standing Rock was because it was a just cause. We're talking about a First Nations people that are fighting against transnational corporations for profit and fossil fuel power. supported by a military industrialized complex as manifested by these policemen and bearcats and MRAPs and concussion grenades. So what I did, my role was back in September. I'm a physician, and I also work. I'm also trained to be a traditional healer as well. But I primarily function as a physician. I went there with my own mana'o, my own ideas about what I thought we needed to be done over there as a guest in Lakota, Dakota territories. And when I went there, I was invited by some of the First Nations people to come and be a part of it because I had done a lot of work. My family has done work through the Onipa'a Nahuikala, which is the Terra Farmers Association. We've been, for the past 20 years, been fighting for and supporting for sustainable traditional kalo farming techniques, as well as water and land reclamation for Kanaka Maoli. In addition, we also did, I'm a part of the Ahui o Nakauka, which is the Native Hawaiian or Kanaka Maoli Physicians Association, and as well as the Pacific Region Indigenous Doctors Association. So when I went there, I went with these ideas. Again, we talk about what is holding the sacred and what is your kuleana. So I went there with the idea that I was going to go pop up a tent and I was going to go set up, like a medic tent. So I go over there and I see there is a scope here at Standing Rock that was completely beyond anything that any of us had ever experienced. I went there in September. Earl was there with me. And when we went there, there were 15,000 people there that weekend. 15,000 people. I've never seen a land occupation like that before. I don't know anyone that has seen a land occupation of that scope before. And when I went there, I realized I was incredibly humbled. I went there with my own ideas. And this is where you got it every day. You have your ego, you have to kill it every single day. Because when I stepped into that space, I thought that I knew what I was doing. And then I realized how very, very, very ignorant I was. So the first thing that I did is, instead of setting up a tent, I realized that there was a Cheti Shakoan, which was the main camp. Then you had Sacred Stone, which was one of the original camp that started up in April with LaDonna Turnbull. Then you had Rosebud or Shichungu, which is another one of the Council of Seven Elders Fires tribes that were there. They had set up across the river across the Cannonball River. But Ocheti Shakoan was the largest one. That was the main camp that most of you see, the big up from Facebook Hill. All the teepees, that whole sea of teepees and yurts and tents that have been there since the summer. And I walked through these places and I saw that there was medical care being provided, and some of it really excellent in some ways, but that everybody was separated off and doing their own thing, and there wasn't really an organization to it. And then the greater part of it that I saw was, when you look at those of you who have been involved with Aloha Aina, we talk about the kino of the nation. And so the kino of the nation, the right hand is the kahuna, or the teachers, those who are the healers and the spiritual leaders. The left hand is the kalaimoku, those who provide the governmental structures. Or also, in addition to that, they might be, in modern times, be like the economists or the lawyers. So we're trying to bring it to modern times so everybody understands that they have a place in this nation. It's not just this sick Western concept that only the government people and the multinational corporations are the ones who have a voice. No, in healthy governance, when we're talking about not just fighting against something, that we have to stand for something. And in our healthy traditional concepts of governance, you have the kahuna, kalaimoku working together with the right foot, which is the nakoa, the kia'i, those who guard and protect others. And then the left foot, which is the mahiai, lavaya. And then the circulation that brings it all together, the weavers and the connectors. And in traditional times, they were people that would sing the songs and have the mele and do the dances. But in modern times, they could also be the media and the computer people, the people that weave the stories together and connect all the different parts of the body. And we realize through the Aloha Aina struggle that our body of our nations, the nations throughout the world, have been deliberately been fractured and broken apart. They tried to kill it. They tried to kill these systems of sustainability, but they were not able to, because they were we went and we survived. We are the survivors of genocide. So we went in hiding. The umeke bowl was hidden. The poyo continued to be eaten, but it was hidden because it became a death sentence, either actual or economic. And this body that was fractured, we see that happening here in Hawaii. We see it happening, I saw it happening over in Standing Rock. And the biggest thing that I see is the struggle that we have is that the kalaimoku and the kalaimoku and the nakoa are often at odds with each other because the system as it is right now, they co-opt our kalaimoku folks, the structural folks, the people that believe in this kind of creating these stable systems, and they fundamentally have them be opposed to our nakoa, our warriors and our fighters. And so you see that struggle going back and forth. And this, I want to bring this back in particular to the Mauna Kea struggle and our Hawaii struggle, because we have part of what we do when we go abroad. You have to go abroad and come back and take the lessons back home. So as we see what happens over there, you have to bring it back home and see that the same thing happens here. Our kalaimoku folks, our governmental people, our structurals, kind of the more even, steady, like let's build the bridges and do all of this stuff. They then become in opposition to our kia'i and our nakoa. And so when we do that and we go up against each other, they both co-opt and sell out our kalaimoku folks because they want to believe in stability and structure. But then the other part of it is, if we as nakoa and kia'i then denigrate, put down, attack, and vilify those who try to create these structures of sustain as well, it's understandable, because often the people that are imposing, who, where the toilets go and where the over the, so you're talking about Standing Rock, propane goes, how the trash gets taken care of, who takes care of the roads. Often those are structures of oppression. And historically, the IRA, or the Indian Reservation Act governments, the tribal councils, have historically been tools of the system to oppress the First Nations. But what happened, what I saw happening, is yes, there was some function of that where they were part of that and they believed in that structure of stability. But at the same time, we as nakoa and kia'i were so used to those people who were creating those structures that they would be in opposition to us, that we would have that. We're so used to fighting against the power that we forgot and didn't realize that sometimes the power that creates these systems, like the propane, the firewood, the toilets, the roads, those are people struggling with us on the front lines as well. And then there was a disdain that would happen, that the frontline folks would go up and fight against Morton County, and there was a disdain that we had. And I was, something I say this freely now because this is a part of my own work that I had to do as well. The disdain that people would have, and I thought about this at first. How come you guys don't go to the front line? How come you guys don't? If all 15,000 of you guys could go up to the front lines and we could take on these Morton County police guys, we could take them on. But then I realized, over the 6 months, the people who went to the front lines, they were fundamentally hurt and traumatized. It was 6 months of brutal, brutal oppression. And it wasn't just the concussion grenades, and it wasn't just the LRADs and the Bearcats and the MRAPs. It wasn't just that. It was the constant counter-terrorism, psychological ops that they were having against us, in which they would send in rumors that they were going to steal all the children and take all the children, that the CPS, their version of the CPS was going to take them out. Or they would plant some seed about somebody sold somebody else out. Or I said it was very easy to do in this traumatized through generations community, where all you have to do is, you don't have somebody that goes in there and kills somebody. All they have to do is be the guy that buys the rounds for everybody that wins. That's all you have to do. You can go in there and corrupt the entire movement by getting people who are traumatized through these months of oppression and destruction, by getting them in that weak moment, either when they're at their highest, when they think they're the best and the strongest and the most invulnerable, hey bro, I'm gonna buy you one drink. Or when they are beaten They're out of money, out of resources, and they are low, and they don't know if anybody, they've lost their job, they've lost their homes, because that's what a lot of the warriors did over there. They lost their homes. They're currently homeless, yeah? When they realize this, they come and they have this fight. And then they, in a low moment, hey, bro, you did so much good work. Mahalo. Let me buy you a drink. You like some ice? You like some, what, So you have this whole very human trauma. And in the past 6 months, my driving question has been, how during times of war are we able to create spaces of healing? As warriors, as fighters, as Kia'i, how in times of war are we able to create spaces of healing? How can we heal each other? How can we create these spaces for one another? And the answer is that we need to be those spaces of healing for each other. Yes, call each other out on our pilikia. If you're a sellout, you're going to be talked to straight up. We're going to go to your face. We're going to talk to you. There are people who have come up to me and held me accountable for everything that I've done, have questioned me, and they are people that do it with love, compassion, and aloha, because they say, every one of you, we need you, because this fight is so strong and so big, and the enemy is so great that we can't afford to lose a single one of you. And those are the people that I listen to with great aloha. I come up to them and say, thank you, brother. Thank you, sister. Thank you for keeping me grounded. Thank you for asking me, where do I stand when the line is drawn? Do you stand with the people, or do you stand in zones of safety and zones of oppression and co-optation? And then I also learned, the humble lesson that I learned is, you cannot take on the whole thing. We have to work together. The whole body of the kino must get together if you are to effectively raise yourself in a strong fist of resistance. You cannot be like, oh, like this, How's this? You cannot be like this when you're like this, right? So what I did was I took on the kuleana of trying to create spaces of healing, both metaphorical between the nations and the different body within the actual kino of the kalaimoku, the nakoa, the kahuna, the manovai, and the mahiailavai. Try to work as best I could to create the Meta-Killers Council. And then also to connect the different camps where we were providing healthcare and services. There was division even happening in between, rivalries between the camps. And we were like, oh my gosh, okay, let's try to work this together. And then the other thing that was happening is within the camps itself and then the tribes. The tribe was beautiful. There are so many beautiful people in the tribe, but then there was this going like that. So trying to create those spaces of healing for each other via the Meta-Killers Council, and at the same time actually delivering healthcare. So what we had was, we have a total of about, maybe at the end of the day, I would say we had about 33,000 volunteers at any one time. We had about 30 different structures that we maintained, primarily at Ochatishakoan camp, as well as medic spaces in each of the camps. We had physicians, we had frontline medics that went to the front lines, we had body workers, we had traditional herbalists, we had a mental wellness center, we had facilities, because we had 30 different structures that we had responsibility for. We had fundraising, we had media, we had research, looking into the dapple cough, the rosal testing, all of those different things. And we had the PR and the unity work that we did across both the different camps, the different parts of the kino, and then also with the tribal government and within the community, and then liaisoning with the rest of the world, and trying to create spaces of healing in every single one of those. And it was a beautiful, beautiful endeavor. And I feel very much honored to be a part of that. That's what I've been doing for the past 6 months, in addition to working with our kala farmers back home. So mahalo nui loa. A little bit about myself and our struggle and my mana'o, and hopefully we can all be those spaces of healing for each other. Aloha Aina.
All right. I'd like another warm round of applause for this amazing, inspiring human being, Kalama. I first met her, actually, not really even met her, through the Aloha Aina, and the whole idea of a kino to me was, maybe just turn it down a little bit, was amazing. The whole idea that, because of course I understand we are us as one, like one body, one with the earth, one with each other, but the Hawaiian system is so brilliant. It is, to talk about it in these terms of kino. So that's how I became aware of that woman, and then I started to follow her activities because she was so inspiring, and you can see why. So now I'd like to bring to the stage another Kia'i, another warrior who I keep bumping into in one court case after another, and she has several names. And so I would like you to put your hands together for Kehalani at this time. And she is going to talk about, oh gosh, what was it? Pulling back the reins, both collectively and individually, on our self-rulership, our sovereignty. Pulling back the reins, it's a fabulous principle. And we're all trying to do that all the time, so we can do that collectively, because it is kind of contagious. When someone is really on their shit, it just rubs off. You have to say, I appreciate that, I recognize that, thank you for being like that, you know. So here's another inspiring person that I just keep bumping into in courthouse after courthouse. Put your hands together. Kehalani!
Yeah, a little higher. Right here, no, I'll stand. Maybe that's too high. All right. Yeah, test. I want to thank Millicent for pouring out her heart into this event. Every year she manages to make something beautiful. And I want to thank everybody here, because everyone here makes Hawaii beautiful. Because we know what is true, and we know what is good, and we live it. Last year I had the pleasure of introducing Moani Keala. She spoke at last year's Wahine Fest. And I called her. She is battling some health issues and couldn't be here today. So I asked her, what is your message that you want to give to everyone? Moani's been fighting this battle of liberating Hawaii from its oppressor for about as long as I've been alive, which is a long time, almost 50 years. She said to me, Sissy, we've been fighting this battle a long time. We don't want the torch to go out. We want all the generations to know, to keep fighting this battle until it's won. And I know she fights every day. She gets information from the paper, from the TV, from one another, and she's devoted her life to this. I've also devoted my life to this. Not by my plan, but by certain series of events that I believe a lot of us here have said from our own mouths. I've gotten the calling. I don't even know why I'm on Hawaii Island. I don't even know what brought me here, but I got a calling. My family was from this island. They moved to Oahu and then moved to California. So I was raised in California. And in California, Hawaiians are treated, they're loved, they're adored, they're admired. I come to my own country, and people want to genocide us out. They want to remove us and make us extinct. And we can't allow that to happen. We're not going to be able to do it on our own, though. We're going to need everyone to fight this battle. And not just here in Hawaii. As the sister was saying earlier, having visited the First Nations peoples, those 600 plus nations that had societal structures and established governments and communities before any Europeans came over and said, look, open land. Those were their countries. Those are still their countries, just like this is still our country. So we need to work together with indigenous peoples everywhere, in the Amazon, in the land known as America, here in Hawaii. And we need to partner not just in the battle. I know we focus a lot on the battle, but we need to focus on the rebuilding. What can we do to rebuild while we fight? Otherwise, they're going to keep us busy like a little whack-a-mole game, putting out fires. They're going to keep us busy fighting all these particular issues that they are going to create to keep us from being able to unify and rebuild. We don't have to participate in anything that they do. All we need to do is unify and focus on rebuilding. We've been fighting now for 200 years. In my lifetime, I want to see Hawaii liberated, free from our oppressor. I want to see Hawaiians be able to decide for Hawaiians what we're going to do with our land, what we're going to do with our structure. We had a beautiful structure, a model structure. Powell came, distorted it. Europeans came, imposed upon us their way. They loved our way so much that they imposed upon their way, and our way is diminishing. I don't even know how to speak my own language. I was taught I was American. I was taught this was America. My mom didn't even know till a few months ago when I told her. This is an everyday fight. This is what we need to teach our children and our neighbors, and we need to have these discussions every day. I appreciate Millicent getting this event together, but let's just make this a jumping off point, a catalyst to take it home with us, and every day decide, do I live on stolen land? What do I do? Do I find the family whose land it is and deed it back to them? Yes, that's what you do. That would be the right thing to do. My fight, a lot of times, for whatever reason, I guess being raised in California, you know Spanish, you know technology, you know law, you know real estate, just from living there. It kind of rubs off. So when I was raising my children, they're almost grown. This is to hide my belly. They're almost grown. But I raised them working for attorneys. That is my skill. That is my gift. That is my talent. It's not the one I chose. I swore I'd never work in an office, but I got pregnant and had a kid, and I had to go make some money. I realized within the last few years just how corrupt and fraudulent the court system is. It is not real. It is not real. So now, instead of working as a paralegal for attorneys, I help people navigate through a corrupt system. I work for the people now, not for the attorneys. The people whose families get taken from them simply because that's the agenda. They've done nothing to deserve that. The people whose homes are taken from them, especially the Hawaiians, they get arrested for trespassing on their own land because a corporation wants to use it to build a resort. They bulldoze their homes and confiscate their items. They throw them in jail. Their only crime was they're Hawaiian, and somebody wanted what they had. This isn't gonna go away. We gotta make it go away. We are not gonna wait. We're not gonna get permission from people who have no authority here. The courts have no authority here. The courts break the law. The one in the black robe breaks the law every day. They put a robe on and impose a foreign law on Hawaiian soil. I go to the courts, I tell them that. The ones in the blue uniforms, the armed gunmen in the blue uniforms break the law every day. They strap their guns on and put their uniforms on because they're opposing U.S. law on Hawaiian soil. That is against the law. We need to take this back. We need to stop accepting things for how they are and say, he's just doing his job. His job is not to oppress me and my family. His job is not to threaten me and my family because we speak out or we stand up for what is right. I was talking to a brother over there who also fights within the court system. And the battle is to end the corruption, but it's also liberating to the people to know that those are not our authorities, that the people are the authority. We are the authority. We have the power, not a fraudulent entity. He wanted me to read this. I filed this in the court. I've been targeted. After I took a stand on the Mauna, before the Mauna, we would fight for no GMOs, repeal the PLDC, universal issues that affect everyone living here. But the moment I crossed the street in a crosswalk, which I don't know how that's against the law, for a universal reason, I was tired of corporations disregarding people, disregarding law, capital L law, for the sake of profit. That's what the TMT weaponry is all about, profit. Disregard the land, disregard the people, disregard the law, do as we please because we will make money. It was a universal reason why I took a stand. Everyone had a reason why they took a stand. But because I'm of Hawaiian descent, because I'm on Hawaiian soil, it became a Hawaiian issue to them. We've been discriminated against in our own country. After that, not just me, but other people who took a stand while we're shopping, while we're at the market, while we're going about our daily business. They continue to arrest us. When we've not broken a law and they hold us against our will and freedoms, it's called kidnap under the color of law. When they charge us money to release us, it's called a ransom. They are committing crime after crime after crime against us. My crime one day was going to the market to buy a flower for my hair. I witnessed something occurring across the street. Somebody was making a disturbance. Apparently he does this often at the Mo'oheo bus station. We didn't know what to do. We saw a police officer go by, I tapped on the window. I told him, that guy's going nuts over there. He said, oh, that guy. He went to go take care of it. I guess the guy saw me tap on the window and point because he wanted to come after me. So when I ran to get the officer and said, you can't leave, he's now coming after me. They called me by name and arrested me. They psychologically abused me in front of my children, in front of the whole bus station, simply because it was me. Someone who stood on the Mauna. They bash windshields in and break taillights of people who put license plates of the kingdom on their cars. They harass other brothers and sisters who take a stand simply because they're Hawaiian fighting for the liberation of Hawaiians in their own country. I had to go to court to defend myself against these crimes I committed. They harassed me, they abused me, and charged me with the crime they perpetrate upon me. I am not a rare circumstance. This is common practice in these courts. Common practice for anyone who stands up, not just Hawaiians, but anyone who stands up and say, that is not what the law says. There are people being beat. There are people being killed by police officers, by the prosecutor's office, by the court system, simply because they're exposing their dirty deeds. Their families, too. In our time, in front of our eyes, in our homes, in our neighbors. Genocide is real. It's happening now. It's not something that happened before. Eventually got dismissed for bringing the truth into court. They couldn't deny that by bringing me before them in their fraudulent courts, it now had turned into an international issue. It was an issue between one separate sovereign state, they call themselves America, or the US, and that of Hawaii. I reminded them that this is an international issue of human rights violations. This was just the district court. They make everything seem so menial, so you'll plea or pay them money so that you could go on with your lives and take your kids to practice. They know we're busy. They know we're too busy. So they keep us busy fighting these fraudulent charges. They want to victimize and vilify us all so they can remove our guns. They can give us probation. They can give us restraining orders and take away our rights. They work for our demise, all of us. And we need to face the truth about what is going on right here now in front of us. And we need to take a stand. We don't just walk away from someone's experience because it's not just me. For the last 5 years, I help people every day. Help them get their families back. Help them get their homes back. Help them get their sanity back. Can you imagine what that does to somebody? I'm going to jail for what? I didn't do anything. Help them get their perspective back. And if anything today, we need to understand, we need the right perspective. Hawaii is a beautiful, wondrous place. But it's being overrun. And we have to all join together. We have to all do our part, or we're not going to see it get better. And I'm so proud of everyone here, because I know everyone here has an ambition to see things be better, to see things be right. This is the issue, the truth, and what is right. And that was Moani's directive. Each person has to take their talent. My talent is in the courts. I can help people, and I can navigate through. Some people have the talent of growing things. I have a black thumb. I cannot grow. No plant wants to live with me. It's not going to work. But that talent of growing food will keep us sustainable. We don't have to depend on ships and boats and them. Whatever your talent is, you have to use it each day for what is right. Okay. I don't want to have to go to another country or another state to be treated respectfully. I want to be treated kindly in my own country. And that's not just going to happen if I wish it away. If I think happy thoughts, it's still going to be here. Guys, we have to take an active part. We have to take an active role. Okay? And if you can't do it every day, that was my choice to make this my occupation. But like many people here, they are supportive of those who are making the active efforts. That too is important. I know just with the TMT contested case hearings, there are people that bring food every day. They might not be a party to the action, but they are important because they're there and their presence is made known. And I think that whatever role you play is going to be important. And if you're not going to dedicate 24/7 to it because you have other obligations, then dedicate the time you do have to making things right. Because it's not just going to happen. And it needs to happen. So I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you for your time.
I want to see your hands get together again a little louder for that woman. Talking truth. Yeah. Gosh, we're going to have quite a collection of water here. All right. Yeah, everybody is talking about the things that just need to be talked about. It's so beautiful. Every aspect of the kino. You know, we're at one body. Everyone, the left hand talking to the right hand and the right foot to the left. And that's what we need to do. More and more dialogue, more recognition that we are one body, one humanity. We can't be bickering anymore. It's time to have a party. How about this party? I think it's pretty cool. What do you think? Wahine Fest 2017. Hey, how's it, brother? Okay, well, I can't tell you how honored I am to be introducing the next speaker at the Wahine Fest conference. She has been an inspiration to me in so many ways because once I think at times that I feel like I have a grasp on her awareness and her incredible service and her incredible character. And then I'm just kind of blown out. I learned something else that's just like, are you kidding? Are you serious? It's just like over the top, this woman's journey into so many different fields, like La'au Lapa'au and Ho'oponopono. And the last time I was kind of blown out by the work she's been doing was when I saw her speak at the TMT contested case hearings. And I learned yet another layer of just how strong she is, just to what degree she has been of service to Hawaii and the world. Can I ask you to please put your hands together for an extraordinary musician and devotee of Hawaii, an amazing human being, Laulani Teal.
Got my own in the promised land. I feel at home. Can you overstand? Na 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 na.
Aloha Aina. So I was asked to talk about body sovereignty. You know, we work with so many different kinds of sovereignty in our in our dealings with everything around us. You know, and if we remember the nature of ourselves being as beings who connect with each other, with our culture, with our past and our future, and with the Aina that we're part of also. In order to do those things, what do we need? And I'm going to say that one of the very key things that we need is to recognize the air that is inside of each and every one of us. And I'm going to say that I feel that that is the key. Recognizing air in ourselves and others is the key to manifesting change on the small level and on the big level. Lately, there have been many things that have challenged our air, right? When the police come and drag us off the Aina, that is certainly a challenge to our exercise of air, right? And I should explain too that some people may not know what that means. You know, a lot of people have heard ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono, right? Ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. A lot of people hear it as that's the state motto, quote unquote. Well, it's the stolen motto is what it is, of our collective mana'o of Hawaii. And what that means is ua mau, to perpetuate on and on into the foreseeable future and the unforeseeable future. Ua mau. Ke ea, the life breath that's inside of each one of us, which is also the sovereignty within each of us. The sovereignty inside of each one of us and within us collectively. Ua mau ke ea o ka aina of the land. I ka pono. Ka pono, righteousness, rightness, correctness. So you have these two great concepts. Ea, the sovereignty within each person and within ourselves collectively. Yeah, that implies the ability to choose, the ability to say no, the ability to do what must be done according to the instructions given to each one of us directly, right? And you have pono. Because to exercise ea, is it truly ea if you're not being pono? It might be something else. So those two great concepts go hand in hand. Through exercising ea, through practicing ea, through being sovereign every day, and how using the discernment to also be pono and to remain in pono. As we move that ea forward, as we grow that ea, as we remove the obstacles before us with our flow of ea. Hey, Madori! Hey, you guys! Sorry. Just a little ea moment there. but anyways, so as we move that forward, moving those two forward together, we are unbreakable. We are unbreakable. And the way that we need to keep that moving forward is to continually balance those forces, right? You have the force of ea, you have the force of pono, and those two need to stay together. And sometimes it's not that easy to keep them together, but we have to do that. How does this relate to body sovereignty? Well, because ea and fundamentally pono live within ourselves. They are housed within us. And because they are housed inside of us, it is what we do physically in this world that manifests it, individually and collectively. So, our kino needs to be pono, and our kino needs to have the air to be pono. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm saying that, oh, this thing over here is pono and that thing is unpono. That can get very tricky, right? One of the issues that I've been involved with a lot lately has been the art of midwifery and its relationship to the state government, which is not a comfortable relationship at all. Now, no matter what culture you come from, probably that practice is probably one of the oldest practices that was ever done between people, right? Between people. So, one person helping another person, that particular art has been around for a very, very, very long time. And it's also been persecuted for a very long time. Remember those Salem witch trials over there in the other place? Yeah, so, there is a question, has that really stopped? And why is there this need to shut that down? Well, the exercise of air is directly threatening to those who govern in such a way that is not pono. So the moment you dissociate pono from the air of the people, you already can't. It's already wrong. So in that particular case, where we're talking about, in this particular case, it's the practice of having babies somewhere outside of the hospital, right? Somewhere not in the medical system, not where that birth is controlled by people with medical degrees who are going to plug in what they want to plug in and tell people to do, sit, stand, lie down, how they want them to do it, et cetera, right? And so air is a very fundamental concept in that particular practice, right? Because you're talking about, the ability for human beings to come into the world. And so when the forces of air, represented by those standing for body sovereignty, are up against many different forces, some of them being controlling forces, and some of them simply being the forces of those obstacles that we have yet to overcome in human evolution. And by that, I mean that sometimes the person who appears to be on the other side of the conflict, and I do a lot of peace kind of stuff too, so and I get into a lot of scraps also. And so the person who appears to be on the other side of the conflict may or may not be actually oppressing you, or in some cases there may be elements of oppression from both sides, and in some cases it is simply the manner in which the human spirit comes to a greater level of practice as a whole. And if we look at it, hey, we're doing pretty good, man. we've gotten in the last few decades, we might have done a lot of backsliding on things like pollution and, GMOs, but we've also done a lot of good stuff in terms of conscious evolution, in terms of collective consensus, no, you don't just go out and beat up gay people, hello, things like that. And women and men should have should both have power, basic stuff like that it's taken this long to figure out, but that consciousness is spreading, and I think we've been doing pretty good as people. Now, this being Wahine Fest, I'm going to have to say that the manifestation of air, right, takes different forms. It can take Kane forms, it can take Wahine forms, it can take Mahu forms, it can take all kinds of different, it can take tree forms, it can take all kinds of different things, right? And in that, sometimes we need to look at how air is manifested in the moving forward of all that we do, and given that one large theme for manifesting pono of late has certainly been the principle of ku'e, or resistance, right? Because without resisting the forces that are attempting to destroy permanently places, waters, cultures, people, then we're in a whole lot of trouble, right? So the manifestation of air does necessitate ku'e, resistance, right? And it also necessitates pono. So it has to be ku'e of a pono nature manifesting the air of the people. Yeah? So I guess this is my long way of basically saying that, as we go forward and we really do this, manifest our own personal ku'e and our own personal air through that ku'e, pono. And we recognize and we support one another in doing that. That is how we're moving the healing of our aina forward. Ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. Yeah? And at Wahine Fest, now, I would like to recognize all these many wahine I'm seeing right now. Oh my goodness, I'm seeing there's one, and there's one over there, and there's one over there, and there's some more over there, and one over there, and two over there, and a whole bunch over there who individually, man, if you tell the story, if you tell these individual stories of this manifestation of air and pono through their actions of beautiful ku'e, you would have such an amazing compilation of stories of mo'olelo that it would make both Shakespeare and Hollywood look kind of little small. So I want to thank those wahine ku'e, especially Millicent, and all of those who have contributed, and all the kane too, who've done a lot of work to put this together. Mahalo nui.
Lalani Tio, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Shido Bomb. Yeah, gosh, she made me think in talking about the sovereignty of the birthing process, about my birthing process with my son, Maikai. For some reason, that is blasting my eyeballs. Could be just the monitors, but because I lived out in the boonies in Kaliuva'a, Oahu, and Sacred Falls, and I was 42 when I gave birth to my son. So it wasn't like I was a spring chicken there, and it, 8 minutes you hemorrhage, you're dead. So I owed it to my son to do it in a hospital, which I detested the idea of, but there was no other way that I could do that. So I gave the doctors this birthing plan from hell, from their perspective. It was like 3 pages, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. When I'm really tired after the birth, don't do this, don't try to talk me into doing this and that and that and the other thing. So my doctor was actually kind of scared of me. He didn't talk. He just didn't say anything, which was great. And a couple of Wahine had come to just be with me, and it was a 26-hour labor, which is pretty astounding that they didn't insist. Now, Millicent, you really have to understand, we're going to have to do an or whatever they want to do. And you don't even know what it is. And it's a metaphor for the PTSD that all indigenous people have. When you're tired, when you've been through an ordeal, you're in another state of consciousness. It's a very interesting state of consciousness, and it's right at that time when you are most vulnerable that you can either be taken advantage of. Like, for example, the doctor could say, look, we just got to do this or do that. And you're so tired that you say, okay, I give up. And that is what we have to remember in this global planetary warfare that we're acknowledging. This siege upon the water, this outright, warfare on the planet, the chemtrails, every level of it. And just be at peace and know that when we get tired, we've got each other's back. The stronger we are as one kino, the more we'll have each other's back. So that when somebody gets tired and maybe is about to make a mistake, we can, I make a lot of mistakes, not just because I'm a haole, but because there's a lot of reasons, actually. But I need support. I need to say, hey, Millicent, did you know you really fucked up right there? I mean, that was pretty bad. Or, Millicent, did you, we all have, we're human, we're making mistakes. So instead of badgering each other about the mistakes we're making, and you really need to do, are you more? Instead of that perspective, we can so much more quickly go forward with more aloha and kapu aloha and patience. And if we really did said something that was inappropriate, or because protocol is a wild thing, and it's wild in every country. And when I go to India, there's a protocol there that is 8 trips to India. I've learned a lot about those systems. And you can make mistakes really easily. And it's the same world. India and Hawaii are like this. The lei, the spiritual principles, the huna, it's all one universal language. We're all human. So yeah, I'm sorry to be interjecting before I have the great pleasure of introducing someone that I am just learning about through the contested case hearings. Talk about a rock of Gibraltar. Say what? She took care of all of the petitioners, just like a mother takes care of a bunch of kids, with that kind of love. Total unconditional service. She was there every hearing, making sure the food was there, making sure the food was pono, making sure that the petitioners and everyone involved was getting malama big time so that we could go the long haul. I would like to bring to the stage Chandel Ascension.
I want to get way out here. Yeah.
Ploppity ploop, ploopity plop, down the chute we go. When we'll end up, where we'll end up, surviving or not, bump, bump, nobody knows. Well, the TMTs and the U of H, they all seem to agree. To see what's out there is more important than you or me. So, ploopity plop, ploppity ploop, let's do it all again. Just one more tiny telescope, scope, I mean. Oh, when, oh, when, oh, when, oh, when, oh, when, oh, when, oh, when will it end? Kia'i Mauna! Have we got the longer one?
Okay, hello everybody. I just wanted to come closer to you because this is a little bit more personal in this conversation. So I know you're all scattered around, but I'm gonna kind of talk this way, okay? What I'd like to have you do is just be able to relate to me a little bit more. So we're gonna talk about healing today and empowerment. Yeah, it's really a jump off of everything that you've heard so far. Let me just start off by telling you my name. My name is Chandel. I like to be called Kehalani. That is my family's given name. There's a lot of kuleana that comes with that name. And the reason that, as you probably already know, a lot of Hawaiian words have meaning to them. And some of that is literal meaning, some of that is metaphorical, some of that's mystical. So depending on the language, you can look at the different layers of meaning that is there. But a big question that we normally ask ourselves in the Hawaiian culture is, who are you? Okay, and that's where I want to pause. So when we're asked that question, who are you? What do you feel? What do you feel like? What do you respond as typically? Let me ask this gentleman here in the white shirt. Who are you? How would you normally answer that question? Would you give me your name, or would you give me your occupation maybe? Yeah, you would normally just give me your name. How about the lady sitting next to him? How would you normally answer that question? Okay, thank you very much. And then I'm going to ask one more right here in the visor. How would you answer that question? Okay, thank you very much for looking at that question with me today. So part of what I'm going to ask you to do is to keep that question in front of you. Okay? So as we go through this discussion, just keep that question in front of you. Who am I? How do I reflect? There's a mirror here that says exactly the same thing. It says, make peace with your reflection. How interesting that that mirror is here today as we have this discussion. Okay, so keep that in front of you. Who are you? Who do you reflect as? Who do you represent? What hat do you wear? What is your role? This comes down to the basic question that Kanaka asked themselves. What is your kuleana? What is your kuleana here? And what is your kuleana if you go to Oahu? Is that kuleana the same? Or is it different? And coming to the terms where we understand who we are and what our kuleana is, it really helps us as we move forward, because then I'm not taking on too many tasks. Okay? I'm not trying to run over there and put out a fire that someone else really has kuleana for.
And I'm not trying to step in front of someone else and say, I'm really good at this, let me do it. Okay? Because part of Kuleana is living your life. It's who you are. It's your God-given responsibility. It's what you were designed to do in this lifetime. And it is not necessarily an accumulation of your mistakes or of your successes and your accomplishments. So when I'm asked, who are you? I don't say, oh, I'm a PhD. I'm not, by the way. But that's not how I would answer. Nor would I say, I'm a failure. You see? Those things don't define me. So when people want to know who I am, I tell them that you must be with me, because that's how you'll know who I am. From our interactions and our exchanges, you will come to know who I am, just as I will. I will learn to be me, okay, in this lifetime. Now, most of us will go through life and we understand all of that. We just innately understand that. But we do come to a point where we realize that society has impacted us, whether we like it or not. And we're having to stretch ourselves, and we're having to do things that are uncomfortable. And that's what happened to me on my journey. I set out my course. I thought I knew who I was. I thought I knew what I wanted, and I set out my course and I went for it. And what happened is I learned about life along the way. I learned about things that hurt me. They were truths. And I couldn't do anything with those truths. I was just kind of stuck with them. They were just things that I had to accept. Now, whether you're Hawaiian or not, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying, right? On some fundamental level, we've all found ourselves in a position where we're facing conflict. What I found most interesting recently in the last couple of years is that we all, every single one of us, have some sort of cognitive dissonance, some sort of conflict where our actions are not in alignment with our beliefs, where we're making decisions that are not in line with our values. And we can beat up that guy for making a mistake. But the truth is that we're making those same mistakes. No fault of our own, okay? We are where we are. Historically, we can look at patterns and identify why we're here and the psychology that got us here, okay? And that's what makes it true for not just me, but for the person standing next to me, as well as the person standing in front of me, the opposition. They're affected by the same society and patterns that I am. So where's the perfection? Where's the ideal team? They're not out there. So if we keep kicking everybody to the curb, who are we going to be left with? Nobody. And I cannot run out and heal you, and I cannot treat the next person and take up the next person. And when we start movements like this, when we start moving together to do big things, traumatic things, what happens is exactly what Kalama talked about earlier. We end up with a bunch of wounded warriors. Okay? We stepped onto that line wounded, and we stepped off wounded. And we're vulnerable in both situations, as she pointed out, to the guy who's just going to come by and buy us a drink at the end when we're our weakest. I call that the fox in the hen house. And believe me, the fox is in the hen house every time. You just need to be able to find him or them. But every time the fox is in the hen house. And what does that mean? That means that the person right next to you could be the one messing up your whole movement. Okay? So, what I want to say with that is not just be afraid. In fact, exactly the opposite of that. Because that's the message we're given every day. Right? This is a threat. That's a threat. Be afraid of this. Be afraid of that. What if this? What if that? Right? Everything is going to eat you up. Everything is going to beat you up. you're just going to lose. So just go over there, park, lie down, and die. Go. Be quiet about it too, please. Don't cry. Right? Watch some TV so we can program you. Which brings me right to where I want to be, programming. Okay? So we all know about computers today. We're pretty good about that, right? If I put a computer right here, what would it do? No, by itself, what would it do? Absolutely nothing. What's my point here? Don't give it any power. God, she took me all the way to the end of my talk. That's it right there. Remember, that's the conclusion, okay? You're going to just ignore it. You're going to just ignore it. Don't give it any power. But we're going to talk about that power for a moment, okay? Because this computer does have power, right? If what? If I give it to it. Yeah? If I program this computer, it can do something. Right? I can make this computer do something. Yeah? Well, in your life, you're the computer. Who's programming you? Who's making decisions in your house? I want you to physically raise your hand if you make the decisions in your home. I should see everybody's hands right now. Why don't I? Literally, every single one of us should have been able to say that without hesitation. I make the decisions in my house. Because if you yielded your decision to any other human being, you are now powerless. Okay? So, for a minute, you make the decisions, okay? You're in power. You have all the control of your life, of your program, of your computer, of your output, right? You're now in control. You make the powers. What does that mean? What did Laulani tell you that was called? Okay, you guys getting there. So, Laulani talked about birth. Let's take birth another step, okay? You're in the hospital. You give birth. Some stranger walks into your room and says, let's register your child. Let's fill out the name on the birth certificate. Okay? You do it, right? Why not? What did you just do? Anybody know? Other than register? What did you say? Your baby away. That's right. You gave that child away. We talk about adoption more than we talk about birth. You sold your child, not sold, you gave your child to the state of Hawaii as a ward of the state. But you kept all the liability. You take care of that child. They take all the profits. The resource, the child, now belongs to them. Did you know you did that? I got one yes and the rest no's. Okay? So your child is now a citizen of a state. They are a ward of a state. They are responsible for the laws of that state. You got that, child? You think they know those laws yet? They are responsible for them. Ignorance doesn't save you. Okay? So I don't care how old you are, if you don't know, it's time. This child has an excuse. We don't. So as a ward of the state, are you any better than a slave? No, you're not. Did you know you were a slave? Yes. One yes, some no's, some not me. Yeah, we're all at a little bit different place here. But those questions are big questions for us because they determine what our next steps are. They determine how we solve our problems going forward. They determine what we can do and what we cannot do, where our space is, what I have room for, what I have the capacity for. Yeah? So it's important for us to understand that. So as a citizen of this state, they tell me that I should pay taxes so that we can add all this structure and that we can be progressive. I love that you're following me like that. Hallelujah. So we can make war. It's right in line with the fear they want us to own, right? Yeah. So when you don't pay your taxes, they call you up and they hassle you and they threaten you. But what they don't tell you is it was voluntary. Unless we're in a state of war. That's an exception. Okay? So, have we ever not been in war? No. That's right. But again, citizenship is voluntary. In other words, I can stop being a citizen right now. Agreeing to their laws is voluntary, and it always has been. You have to agree, participate, and consent in order for that to be your law. And if you did not, then it ain't yours. So go back to the decision maker, because they're still in the room. Yeah? The decision maker over time will learn that a lot of people want what you have. Yeah? A lot of people want what you have. And we can see that as greed, or we can see that as a need for power. Regardless of what you see it as, you should know that. That two types of people will approach you in your life. The one who wants to be with you, and the one who wants something from you. Most of them are going to be the latter. Because we all know we got very few people standing next to us in our lives. Right? But are you able to discern those people that come forward in your lives? Do you know when you meet someone, is this person toxic? Is this person straight up? Is this person honest? No, we don't know that about people. And we're certainly not going to know that if we start asking them, where do you work? What's your job? Because that ain't going to tell us, is it? No. Okay, so they're telling me I'm out of time, but or getting close to out of time, right? So I have a third part to this that I really need to move forward into, because this is the part where we start to practice, okay? This is the resistance, the practice. So we all know we have the power. We all know that we're somewhat messed up from society. And then we all know that we want to move forward, okay? We're all in different places as far as trauma is concerned. Some of us is just a struggle. Some of us might be full-blown PTSD. Some of you might have full-blown Stockholm Syndrome. Or you might have some other type of psychological disorder at this point. Nevertheless, this process should help all of us move forward. So I'm going to give you somewhat of an assignment, if you will. Okay? And of course you can take it or not. But the assignment is to write. Okay? To add the practice of writing into your day. 10 minutes a day, every day. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why I say this. Okay? What you're going to do in this writing piece is you're going to write to your power source. Whatever you call that power source. If that power source is your God, write dear. If your power source is your heart, write dear. Okay? You determine where your power source is and what your oneness comes from. And you write dear so-and-so. And then you ask what you need to know. Ask. Today, I'm questioning power. And I'm just going to put my pen to the paper and I'm going to start writing. Now the objective here is to write fast, not to think. Okay? Put your question out, write fast. Write what comes. Do not edit. Do not worry about how it looks. Don't worry if you spelled it wrong. Don't worry about punctuation. This is not that kind of thing. And exactly that practice of letting your writing flow is a good practice for you because you're eliminating judgment from your practice. That's what you're doing. Okay? We judge everybody. We should be discerning information, not judging. Okay? So in this practice, you're going to look at your work, you're going to let it flow. You will not judge your work. Just write. Okay? Ask your question, let it rip. Okay? Do this every day. Every day. For a minimum of 10 minutes a day. What you will find, if you do this in 2 specific ways, okay, I'm going to give you a hashtag. Hashtag is FFH. Okay? FFH. Facts, feelings equal healings. Okay? In your writings, if you are writing down, remembering or recalling an event, you're writing down the facts of that event and how they made you feel. Write down these 2 things together. You will attain healing. Measurable healing. Healing that you can then go into your doctor's office and say, hey, how's my test? Measurable. These test results will last you up to 30 days if you can do this for just 4 days in a row. So they do have measurable impacts. Okay? There's a key, right? So if I just write down all the facts, like I might in a report, I don't get healing. If I write down only the feelings, like I might do if I'm whining to a girlfriend, I don't get healing. But if I look at the 2 of these things together, freely, without judgment, I heal. I move forward. I'm not stuck anymore. I can find resolution. I can question my own soul. You know? So this is the now check. This is when you're looking at yourself and you're saying, Pehea ko piko. How is your piko? It's a little bit different from how are you? The way you normally ask somebody, oh, I'm fine, good. Right? This is a serious question. This is not a question you ask in passing. This is not a question you ask if the people don't have the appropriate time to answer you or the appropriate space to answer you in. You don't ask personal questions in public. That's not common. That's not appropriate. And if you do, you're not going to get the answer you need because they aren't able to answer you there. But more importantly, that question, how is your piko, is for you. It's you checking in. It's your health check. That's why you need to be doing this daily. Preferably doing it in the morning. You will get the most clear thoughts, the most divine answers. You can do it in the evening. That helps quiet your mind so that you can actually sleep because you're putting it all away. These things help you move. Now, why am I talking about moving? Because what we believe is what keeps us stuck. Yeah? So I'm going to give you an example that someone shared with me this morning. Her grandmother used to eat bananas a lot, and she thought it was really funny. So she used to tell her grandma, oh, grandma, you're like a monkey. And the grandma would, just say, okay, and just move on. So the grandma didn't hold that belief, right? The grandma wasn't a monkey. But she kept thinking, oh, my grandma's a monkey when she's bananas. And what's interesting about that, you see, is that it's a truth for one person. It is not for the other. It's a matter of what we decide to hold on to. Yeah? And so when you're writing, you're able to see the cognitive dissonance occur. You're able to see that your actions don't match your beliefs. When you can see that, you can work through it. And then you will start to hear these things that emerge in your writing. You'll start to find you. You'll start to see, oh yeah, there's a pattern here. This is who I am. This is what I'm committed to. This is what my work affirms. This is what I believe in. This is the direction I'm going in. And you know what happens? You start to stand up a little taller. You start to understand who you are. And you can walk in your own truth at that point. And when I come up to you and I try to take from you, you'll be a little bit more clear about who you are and what I can have and what I cannot have. Okay. This story really comes out of the front lines because so many of us walk onto the front lines and come out beat up. And there aren't very many tools available for us right now. And there certainly is no structure available for us right now. But in order for us to get to that structure, you have to be whole. So this is the time where we empower ourselves. We make ourselves strong. We learn our own resistance practices. These are the things that give you strength. We practice our writing. We know how that works. We practice our, whatever, exercise or sports. They make us stronger. Practice being you. Check in every day. How are you? Do your na'au check. Who are you? Look in the mirror. Who are you reflecting today? Am I reflecting me? Or am I reflecting them? What does my shirt say about me? What does my jeans say about me? What does my hair say about me? Are they consistent with my beliefs? These are shallow things for us to consider, but they're starting points because they're reflections of you. Okay? To look at them. More importantly, it's that reflection is going to tell you who you are when you step out the door. Yeah? Who are you going to present as? For me, that answer changed over the years. I was raised in Hawaii. I lived in Michigan. My brothers are black. My stepfather is black. I lived in a really, really segregated area in Michigan, Pontiac. All I learned was racism. Literally could not walk on a sidewalk this way because that was a different nationality of neighbors. We couldn't cut through their neighborhood to go to the store. We had to go blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks around to go to the store. And I thought that was ridiculous, but that's the way it was. So I was constantly fighting, defending my brothers, stepping out in front. But I had no idea, living in Michigan, that I was a minority. I had no idea. I mean, clearly there were no Hawaiians around, but I didn't feel like a minority. I was empowered. I felt strong. I was fine. It wasn't until I came home to Hawaii in the late 70s that I understood, what the fuck? I mean, it was like, when did this happen? Here I thought I didn't know who I was because I lived in Michigan. Come to find out, nobody here knew what it was to be Hawaiian. Everybody had gone underground. Very few people knew what it meant to live Kanaka lifestyle. Very few people still were on their Kuleana lands. And so all of these things I had to come to learn as I did my genealogy, which was my history. And it was through that I realized, God, I was supposed to be this big in their eyes. But I forgot to get the memo. I didn't get that memo. So where they had said to me, you're supposed to be like this, I was still like this. I didn't hold their belief in me. And I don't plan on adopting it today. Yeah. So when you go through this, you'll find out who you are. You'll find out what you're made of. You'll find your power. And always remember, you make the decisions. If you yield, it's on you. But you yield when you're in agreement. Yeah? And you remember, you can always step back from those agreements. Okay? Aloha hui everybody. Yeah! Don't get
Shanda, ladies and gentlemen. My goodness. What kind of friends we got? Who's got your back? Okie dokie. How's everybody feeling? Well, that concludes the Wahine Fest conference. How about that? I think I got a dose, and you know it's cool because we have it on film too. So whatever we didn't catch, we can. I'll get it to you so that we don't miss a beat.